Bro, now that sports gambling's legal here, I need you to do that PS3 thing again. I need some tips for the tournament. I'm saving up to get a PS5. Alright, later. Yeah, let's do this!
Hey, everybody, Jefferson Webster here. Well, the NCAA just dropped the men's brackets, so let's grab our PS3 and do some simulation with College Hoops 2K8 on the PS3.
College Hoops 2K8 on the PS3. I've got the updated rosters here, so if you're interested in that, check out the link below. Let's start in the Midwest region with the play-in game, the two 16 seeds, and the winner here will be moving on to play Kansas, and we've got Kansas and Texas A&M. Corpus Christi, Kansas with the victory. San Diego State versus Creighton. Pretty competitive matchup here, and San Diego State pulls off the win. Iowa versus the Richmond Spiders. Iowa with the victory. Providence versus South Dakota State. Providence with the victory. So far, no upsets. LSU versus Iowa State. LSU with the victory. Wisconsin versus Colgate. Wisconsin with the victory. USC and Miami. USC with the victory. Auburn versus Jacksonville State. Auburn wins. Moving on to the second round of the Midwest region, you've got Kansas versus San Diego State. San Diego State, pretty big upset there. Providence versus Iowa. Providence with the victory. LSU versus Wisconsin. This would be an interesting game. LSU with the victory. USC versus Auburn. And USC with the victory. So, we've got San Diego State and Providence. And LSU versus USC, and that is going to lead to your Elite Eight, which is Providence versus USC. Providence.
Let's go Tigers, yeah!
Hey, college guy, Missouri didn't make the tournament.
No?
They weren't even close to making the NIT. Did you even watch basketball this year?
Now on to the South region, you've got Arizona versus Bryant. Arizona wins. Arizona's my team to win the whole thing. TCU versus Seton Hall. Seton Hall wins that one. Houston versus UAB. UAB with the upset. Illinois versus Chattanooga. Illinois with the victory. Colorado State and Michigan. Colorado State wins. Tennessee versus Longwood. Tennessee with the victory. Ohio State and Loyola. Ohio State wins. Villanova and Delaware. Villanova with the victory. Moving on to the second round, you've got Arizona and Seton Hall. Arizona moves on. UAB versus Illinois. Illinois moves on. Colorado State and Tennessee. Colorado State with the upset. Ohio State and Villanova. Ohio State with the upset. Getting a little spicy here. Arizona versus Illinois, a rematch of earlier this year. Arizona with the victory. Colorado State and Ohio State. Ohio State with the victory. So you've got Arizona versus Ohio State. Arizona.
Come on, Wahoos, yeah!
Yeah, college guy, they didn't make the big dance either.
Come on, bro!
You're getting closer, though. They did make the NIT.
Moving on to the West region, you've got the overall seed Gonzaga versus Georgia State. Gonzaga with the victory. Boise State versus Memphis. Memphis taking the victory. UConn versus New Mexico State. UConn. Arkansas versus Vermont. Vermont pulling off the upset. Alabama versus Notre Dame. Alabama wins. I had to pick in some of these playing games. Montana versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech wins. Michigan State versus Davidson. Michigan State wins.
Let's go Sparty! Yeah!
Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. Duke gets the victory. Moving on to the second round. Gonzaga versus Memphis. Gonzaga taking them down. UConn versus Vermont. UConn moving on. Alabama versus Texas Tech. Alabama with the victory. Michigan State versus Duke. Duke pulling off the Gonzaga versus UConn. UConn with the big upset. And Duke versus Alabama. And we move on to UConn versus Duke. UConn. And finally, on to the East Regional, we've got Baylor versus Norfolk State. Baylor with the victory. North Carolina versus Marquette. The Tar Heels win. St. Mary's versus Indiana, one of those play-in games I had to pick. Indiana wins. UCLA versus Akron. The Bruins take the victory. Texas versus Virginia Tech. Texas with the victory. Purdue versus Yale. Boilermakers win. Murray State versus San Francisco. San Francisco with the upset. Kentucky versus St. Peter's. Kentucky takes the victory. On to the second round. Baylor versus North Carolina. North Carolina keeps it going, pulls off the upset. Indiana versus UCLA. UCLA wins. Texas versus Purdue. Texas wins. San Francisco versus Kentucky. The Cinderella story is alive. San Francisco continues. North Carolina versus UCLA. UCLA with the victory. Texas versus San Francisco. And that sets up the matchup of UCLA versus Texas, UCLA. And this all sets up a crazy Final Four with a Big East matchup of UConn versus Providence, with Providence getting the victory, and a Pac-12 matchup of Arizona versus UCLA, with UCLA getting the victory. And in the title game, you have Providence versus UCLA, and UCLA is your national champion.
Well, guys, that's it. It's tournament time. Buckle up. See you next time.
Yeah, bro, give me like 10,000 pennies on UCLA. Yeah, to win it all. I got a feeling.